Shuster from Pennsylvania is in D.C. Congressman, is the EPA getting some new area that they're going to be able to regulate?
Well, thanks, Tom, for having me on here. I'd like to make 2 points to start off with. Number one, every member of Congress, Republican and Democrat alike, wants to have clean water. And we want to make sure the laws are in place to make sure we have a clean drinking supply of water. Second, to your question, yes, the EPA and the President, once again, are trying to put a rule out there, trying to change the definition from navigable waterways to waters of the United States, which will give them the power to virtually go anywhere in the United States, even in dry places, if there happens to be water there occasionally, to regulate that. And what they're doing fundamentally is they are breaking the partnership between the federal government, the state government, and the local governments, which has been in place for 40 years, trying to figure out what's the best way to proceed, what's the best way to protect the water source in every state. And each and every state has a different water source, has a different water topography, and that's something that we have to make sure that we maintain and not allow the EPA to do this overreach, which I believe will cost the economy greatly. It'll affect farmers, it'll affect home builders, and ultimately it'll affect working class Americans, middle class Americans, because they'll have to pay more for their food, they'll have to pay more for their homes, and in the end, we will continue to have clean water without this rule in place.
Well, I agree with you about the fact that we all want clean water, but at the same time, I know that the EPA has been brought to court a number of times on this navigable waterway. Many times it's nothing more than, like you said, a dried up pond on somebody's property, and it can't build their homes. They're taking away private individuals' private property rights, and they've been fighting this in court. Is this going to make it so that the courts will have no say but to let the EPA come in and take away your property?
Well, you're absolutely right. The Supreme Court has said twice, not once, but twice, that the EPA doesn't have this ability. In addition to that, the Democratic-controlled Congress rejected this measure twice. So they're attempting again. They're cherry-picking. They're trying to, navigate their way to another rulemaking. And our job in the House and in the Senate, and that's why we have a joint hearing today between the House and the Senate, we need to craft legislation that stops or delays this rulemaking. And ultimately, it's up to the Congress to decide what the law of the land is. And that's what the Supreme Court said.
Good for you. Good for you guys and gals in the Congress.